Welcome to Morning Infusion with Dr. V. Have you ever wondered how to gain confidence in your body, the way your body looks, works, and feels after childbirth? Well, my name is Dr. Viola Pierce. I am the owner and the CEO of VP Nursing and the Nurse Nurturer, where our goal is to equip healthcare professionals to be spiritually and physically fit, financially stable, able to lead with integrity, to decrease error at the bedside, and in leadership to lead a full empowered life. Our goal is to come to you each Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to give you the fuel to crush your goals, to show up exceptional on a daily basis. You can follow us on Twitter at The Nurse Nurturer, Instagram at VP Nursing, and if you are watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Now, before we get to our special guest, I wanted to let you know about our global virtual summit coming up on August the 7th, 2020. You will receive 6.5 contact hours and have an amazing time. So please go to www.vpnursing.com to register for this epic event. Hi, so today we have Wendy Powell. Wendy is the founder and the CEO of the leading global digital health tech platform Move2 Systems. She is the woman behind the world's best-selling medically recommended online program for mothers, trusted by over 70,000 women worldwide. Wendy is loved and recommended by Hollywood celebrity trainers and their clients, specialists, women's health experts, surgeons, and even royalty. She is shifting the conversation on women's bodies towards equality and empowerment for health, confidence, and power. Wendy is on the Women's Development Board of Empowerment charity Microloan and works with medical professionals around the world to improve education, dignity, and empowerment for mothers. So welcome, Wendy. You are amazing, and she is my earth angel. So we have three all together. So I'm just super excited that she's mine.
Thank you for having me, Viola. Thank you.
Thank you. So now, have you always wanted to be a mom?
Oh gosh, we were just talking, weren't we, Viola, about how old you were when you had your babies. Well, I didn't have mine until I was 34 and 36. So I think it's fair to say no, I probably didn't always want to do it. I kind of left it a while, you know. But I don't know. I think it was always in there. It was always in there somewhere, but I had a very different career before this one. And I guess I needed to get that out of my system. But, you know, by the time my babies came along, you know, I was married to my husband when I was about 29. So yeah, by 34, I was definitely like, okay, let's do this. So yeah.
Well, that's it. You were just 10 years behind me because I got married when I was 19 and then children at 24. But yeah, that whole month, like nobody prepared me for this. So you're going to prepare these women for this whole childbirth experience. Now, how does your life as a mom in reality compare to what you envisioned prior to being a mama?
Gosh, I don't think we can ever be ready. Do you? I mean, we're never ready. We don't know what we're letting ourselves in for. And I don't know how much I did envision it before, but it was definitely different and new. I think probably for me, the biggest and most sort of dramatic, this was not what I thought it was going to be, was literally welcoming my babies into the world, which was sort of why I do what I do now, which was the births of my babies was as it is for many women I know, not according to plan, not what I had envisaged, not the birth plan. You know, things went horribly wrong, and thankfully myself and my babies were healthy and fine. But there was a lot going on. There was a lot of recovery after that needed to happen. So, and then I think you start the roller coaster that is never the same. I think the sleep deprivation in those early months, nothing prepares me for that. Nothing. I can remember being in a mom and baby group when I was breastfeeding my daughter, my first, and the moms are all sitting around, and one of them, they started talking about dropping the 10 p.m. feed or something, and then it was I think around that time it was very on trend to kind of have this very strict schedule, this very strict routine, and I was like, the 10 p.m. feed, like, what are you even talking about? It was like, I just feed her all the time. I have no idea what this routine or schedule of which you speak. Like, what are you talking about? So no, I didn't know what I was doing, Viola. No clue. No clue.
Well, I'm glad that you didn't, because I didn't either. Okay. I didn't understand the whole schedule thing. And like you did, I just, whenever she cried, I was like, well, that's the hungry cry. Cause they were like, you need to recognize the cry. And I was like, well, I'm recognizing the cry. That's a hungry cry. Well, that one, the Pampers kind of smells kind of, right. So maybe that's a pamper needs to be changed cry, I was like, I don't really know. And then the whole trying to figure out the whole money situation, because I was like, these they're expensive.
And now I have teenagers and I've still got no clue.
That is definitely the truth. That is definitely the truth. We all need some help with that, for sure. I know I needed help. I needed help once, because my daughter got to 11 years old, and I remember walking into the school, and I got there, and when she was in elementary school, I would go and I would bring her food, and she would be like, "Yay, my mommy's here!" And then when she got in school, I walked up and I brought her food, and I thought, well, this is absolutely phenomenal. And she said to me, so there's nowhere for you to sit. And I was like, like my feelings were hurt. I was like, what do you mean there's nowhere for me to sit? I was like, you slide over.
Right.
So what are 5 to 10 things that you recommend for women that are healthcare professionals working 12-hour shifts and are new moms?
Well, wow. I mean, first off, Viola, gratitude and kudos to those people, because, I mean, as you know, I work in women's health, but I do it in a digital online delivery across that platform. And seriously, I mean, I am not going to imagine for a moment that I can understand what that feels like. So and certainly with the world the way it is as we're talking today, untold gratitude and kudos to those people. Now, if you add on you're a new mom to that, incredible. I mean, I feel humble in even beginning to give advice to women in that position. But I mean, I think we often hear the terms self-care and look after yourself first. And I think as women and as moms, we find that very difficult to do, if not impossible. We don't put ourselves first. We feel selfish or vain if we do put ourselves first. And I think that self-care takes many different forms. And often we think, oh, that means I'm supposed to go for a pedicure or a spa. And it's like, well, great if that's an option, but it's not generally to most people, and it's certainly not an option to a new mum on shift work. So, I mean, I think I would recommend kind of prioritizing almost what that self-care looks like. And I would have to say, boring though it might sound, is right up top has to come sleep and rest, and all you can possibly get. So it really is a case of grabbing that sleep and that recovery time whenever that is possible. I think rest, sleep, hydration, nourishment, movement, those are the things that we need in order to continue to operate. And if a new mom is also a healthcare worker, the level at which she is operating, the level of service that she is operating at, is just astronomical. So yeah, I mean, her new baby or anybody she's caring for or anybody else cannot possibly draw on her unless she is serving herself. So I would simply implore that person, that woman, to please rest whenever you can and take help. And if none is being offered, ask, demand, take the help. You know, we are not martyrs. We try to be. And I think when we think there's more than 24 hours in a day, we think that we can be martyrs to the cause, and we can't be. We cannot serve from an empty cup. So I think it would, yeah, my advice would be all around the self-care and just prioritizing those absolute fundamental needs. If you are not rested, if we are not rested, we cannot function. If we are not adequately hydrated, and I know that that's a big issue for certainly health workers on shift work, because you don't want to drink too much because you'll need to pee too much, right? And there's all that stuff that goes on, yeah. So I know you're not eating, and you're grabbing snacks and food in between, you know, whenever you're able. So it's about self-care, nourishment, hydration, rest, and movement when you can.
Yeah. I remember when it was probably the second time that I went on a flight, and I remember the lady coming over the loudspeakers and saying, you know, the second time I went with my little girl, she was a year old at the time. And she said, I want you to put the oxygen mask on yourself first. Right. And I was like, she don't know. She don't understand. She don't understand the round ligament pain. She don't understand that I was nauseated. She don't understand that I was sick as a crap during the entire time that I was pregnant. She don't understand all that stuff. She don't understand. And so she didn't really give me a reason, right? Because she didn't give me a reasoning as to why to put the oxygen mask on myself. I thought within my head, I'm not going to put the oxygen mask on myself. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put an oxygen mask on this little girl right here, because this last time I'm going to get pregnant. Of course, I then ended up having another one. But at the time, I was like, this is it. I'm not going to have any more children. And because of that, then I just didn't understand. But once I understood that whole, you have got to take care of yourself in order to be able to take care of your family. You've got to be able to take care of yourself in order to be able to take care of your patients. So that is absolutely the number one thing. Now, prior to starting your company, Mutu Systems, and explain, just give us an overview of what Mutu means.
Mutu, M-U-T-U, comes from mummy tummy. Okay. So my business is based all around, and it started out supporting women physically and emotionally through the process of recovery post-baby, before baby as well, and many years post-baby. But specifically, my expertise is around the technical points of core and pelvic floor. It's the bits that fitness instructors don't understand. It's the bits that doctors even will pass off as, oh, well, that's just the way it is because you had a baby, you know? So it comes from mummy tummy, which is kind of the aesthetic side, if you like, that often women will think that they want to tackle. We kind of go a lot deeper than that, but it's all around. Mutu system is all about your middle, all about your core, and I mean that in not just a muscular fitness sense, but your core, the very core of you, because your core, your torso, your pelvic floor, your pelvis is literally the piece of you that stabilizes you and holds you strong. And if that's not stable and strong, then nothing else can be. The rest of us are just limbs, sort of injuries waiting to happen. We have to get that stuff strong in the middle. So it all stems from tummy and pelvic floor.
Gotcha. Now, prior to starting the company, what did you do for a living?
So I had a completely different life, Viola. I was working in London in advertising. So I worked in advertising for, well over 10 years, working on various magazines, newspapers. I worked at MTV for a while. Yeah, so a very different life and a very different lifestyle as well. many of my friends from media, when they found out, because I trained as a personal trainer back in 2001. So I've been doing this for 20 years. And yeah, I think the phrase was Wendy's rebranded.
Okay.
Like, people that knew me in that previous life would say, "You're a what? A personal trainer? Really?" I rebranded.
Well, apparently you were really good at what you did. You're really good at what you do now. You're an amazing friend, so thank you.
Thank you.
So what made you start your company? Like, what is the why?
The why, so I was a certified personal trainer since 2001, and I was working with lots of different types of clients, men, women, all different ages, with all different sorts of different issues and goals. But I sort of started specializing my study onto pre and postnatal before I had my babies. So I had my babies in 2005 and 2007. So I'd done a few years of personal training before that, and but I'd already started to specialize in pre-postnatal. And so when I had my daughter, Ava, who's now 14, when I had Ava, I was not only a fit, strong personal trainer, but one that was an expert in pre-postnatal exercise. So I really thought I had this covered, right? You know, it's like, I've got this. I've so got this. So I was like, super fit pregnant. I was still training clients right through my pregnancy. I was still boxing and running with my clients, like right up to the end. But then labor happened and sort of all hell broke loose kind of thing. So what happened was I had massive hemorrhages during both of my births. So I had a massive hemorrhage with Ava. And then less than 2 years later, my son was born. And I was convinced that time I was going to get it right. He was born, great, but then the same thing happened. And in both cases, life-threatening hemorrhaging and massive recovery needed, as you can imagine. And the bit that struck me the most, or the bit that stayed with me, was obviously there was a lot of physical recovery that had to take place there. I had to get strong again. I had to be nourished and get strong again. But it wasn't just the physical. It was that emotional mindset, that mental health piece, where I felt physically broken, like physically, like I'd failed. I'd failed miserably to sort of perform this most natural and instinctive, supposedly, of female functions. And on top of that, I kind of felt, and I know that feeling is not, I'm not the only one that feels like that. I know that a lot of women who feel very out of control for a million different reasons, you know, when they have their babies, do feel very like they've lost control, like they've lost all power, and like their body failed them. I know that that's a not uncommon feeling, sadly. And on top of that, I kind of had this bitterness, this like, I was mad because I was like, hang on, I'm fit and strong and I know what I'm doing and I did all the right things and I did all the right exercises and I eat right and it's not fair, and how come other women get to, you know, and all this kind of mess of feeling let down and like I'd failed. And so at that time I was already a personal trainer specializing in this area of women's health, but it was like this light bulb went off for me, Viola, of like, oh, this is what they mean. This is what they mean when they just, I know, of course, there are massive hormonal fluctuations and so much else going on, which is why we burst into tears and you know, kind of all of that. But that feeling of just looking down or feeling the way your body feels, whether it be when you try and exercise on whatever level, when you're being intimate with your partner, whatever it is, it feels different. It doesn't feel right. It might hurt. You might be leaking. You might be peeing when you sneeze or laugh or cough. It feels strange. You've got these symptoms going on. Your tummy, your belly just doesn't look anything like it used to. And there's that, all of those sort of strategies that you used to have, say if you were an exerciser before, and of course, you know, not everybody is at all, but if you were an exerciser before, you're used to having an element of control around that, right? So I would like my arms to be more toned. I would like my belly to be flat. I'll do those exercises. You know, you kind of, you know what you're going to do about that. It's controllable. But yet when we have our babies, it is not in our control. And what we used to do that worked doesn't work anymore. And if not only doesn't it work, but it might be uncomfortable or even painful. So it was all of those things, that feeling kind of coming crashing down on me of, I'm a fitness professional. I'm a fitness professional certified in this area of women's health, and yet I don't know how to help myself. What I had been taught to teach I knew I didn't have all the answers for my clients, because now I understood that I didn't have all the answers for me. So that was when that was kind of where Mutu was born, because that was when I started redirecting my study. The answers I needed were not in the fitness industry, in my industry at that time. It's a lot better now, but they weren't there. So I started studying biomechanics, and I started talking with physical therapists and pelvic health experts and sex therapists and midwives and other professionals in practices that understood women's bodies, because I was like, somebody must know the answer to this stuff. And it was through that study and pulling all of that together, not only the physical strategies, but also the emotional support. And it's from there that Mutu was born. I literally built, Viola, what I needed and couldn't find. And I was in the industry, so I knew it wasn't there. So that's where Mutu comes from.
Well, kudos to you. You are amazing. Let me tell you, amazing. I knew the first time I met you, I was like, yeah, she's pretty sweet. I love it. I love it. And I love the story, because I hadn't, even though we've talked a few times, I really have not heard that story before. Now, tell me some of the people that you have impacted the most, and sort of like their testimonials behind the system.
Yeah. So I think, okay, so first of all, can I do the famous ones, Viola? Because
go ahead.
Because there might be a certain princess, Kate Middleton might have been reported to love Mutu system.
You better do it.
Just saying. It was in the newspapers. I can't personally vouch for it, but I used to just kind of just fantasize that she and Meghan, I don't know if they're friends or not, but anyway, I used to fantasize that Kate and Meghan would like work out to Mutu together in the palace, But anyway, I was told that Kate Middleton loves it. We know that Pink, rock star awesomeness that is Pink, used Mutu to get back in shape for her amazing acrobatics post baby, and her trainer Jeanette Jenkins uses us a lot as well. So that's fun. The famous people are fun, but really it's all about the women that we hear from day in, day out. And I think the most common thing I've heard over 10 years of doing this is what I hear the most often is, I thought I was just buying an exercise program. And they're like, but I feel different. Everything feels different. So the kind of testimonials we get are around, I feel like me again. I feel sexy again. I feel like I can move. I feel strong and stable and mobile. It's kind of the symptoms that are gone. The back pain, such a huge issue for moms. The back pain's gone. I'm not peeing myself when I sneeze anymore. I don't feel this. Sex feels good again. All of these things. Really just women coming back in touch with themselves and finding themselves again, because that's something we lose. We're martyrs to the cause a bit, aren't we, Viola? We're martyrs to the cause when we become mothers, and it's like we go out the window and everything's about baby. And I know everything sort of, to an extent, a lot of it has to be about baby, but if mom isn't okay, if mom isn't strong and feeling good and happy, then nobody wins. So it's about mobility and lack of pain and confidence. I think really that sums it up completely. It's about physical and emotional confidence. Too many moms are hiding under baggy clothes, feeling invisible, feeling irrelevant, feeling uninteresting, feeling unsexy, like they birth, just because we had the audacity to have babies, it's like we threw our entire personality out the window,
Right.
So that's what we hear, and that's what literally makes my heart shine on a daily basis, is hearing from these women who are just like, I feel like me, I feel like I'm back, which is wonderful.
Well, I am super excited about Mutu. I'm just super excited that you are my archangel. Thank you so much for joining us on this platform. You are amazing. But we will be coming to you again on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time to give you the fuel. I decided to put in Eastern Standard Time since you're in London or in the UK. to give you the fuel to crush your goals, to show up exceptional on a daily basis. You can follow us on Twitter at The Nurse Nurturer, Instagram at VP Nursing. And if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And don't forget to join us for our global virtual summit coming up on August the 7th, 2020. You will receive 6.5 contact hours and have an amazing time. Go to www.vpnursing.com to register. You have a great day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Viola.